Hey everybody, you're listening to the Smoke Meat Podcast. I'm your host, Brad Pittman. Smoke Meat is brought to you by Joe's Underground in Augusta, Georgia, at the corner of 8th and Broad in the bottom of the Lamar Building. Such a great place to be. I love going to Joe's. They always make me feel like family when I go in there, from the first time to the last time I went. They've been such a great sponsor and such great people there. Jeremy and the gang know how to treat everybody, so go down there and see them. Joe's Underground, corner of 8th and Broad. Now, as you all know, right now everybody's wearing masks. So I decided we have Christmas in July. We're going to have hot Halloween. Everybody's wearing masks. We might as well be doing Halloween. So I'm going to be concentrating on some people in the horror trade. The folks that make you jump, the folks that make you squeal, the folks that make you scream. That's right. Today we've got a guy named Colin Bressler. He is a producer, director, writer. He's done camera work. He's been an editor. He's done a little bit of everything. He's done some great movies. So we're going to get this thing kicked off. Welcome to Hot Halloween here on Smoked Meat. Hey, so how we doing, Colin?
Great. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm really excited to be here be talking to you.
Man, thanks for coming on, man. Thank you a bunch. As you know, we're kicking off the hot Halloween because everybody's wearing masks. So we're looking forward to. I know you got one movie coming out on Amazon here soon, hopefully, called Remy's Demons.
Remy's Demons. It'll be on Amazon Prime very soon. Hopefully, it's in the sort of uploading process, so it takes a bit of time. But yeah, and it's through Screen Time Films, like an awesome indie horror film company in Texas. So pretty excited. Definitely go check it out when you get a chance. Love to hear your thoughts.
Oh, I definitely will, man. I definitely will. I have watched so much new stuff since I've started doing my podcast, because I interviewed a lot of people who have stuff on there and things. I'm like, okay, well, I see that. I might watch that later. And then I talk to the people. I'm like, shit, I got to watch that. That's going to be pretty cool. And I've gotten a lot of really cool stuff off of it.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, there's a lot of really good stuff on Amazon Prime. I mean, on streaming in general, but it's definitely, Amazon Prime has definitely become kind of a nice little landing spot for movies like mine. I mean, I don't know if I told you this off podcast, but basically my movie was made for about $2,000, so it's considered a no budget movie.
Yeah.
And the fact that I'm in my mid 40s, so when I started out in the film industry out of college, movies like mine had no chance. I mean, I don't even know if you could have made a movie like mine, but even if you did, there was nowhere for it to go. So nowadays, it's so awesome with all the internet stuff that there's homes for these kind of movies. So it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's great because, just like I said, just even a few years ago, if you made an indie movie, it was a 1 in a million shot that you'd get anything but a grade for it. And now there's so many good outlets and so many great ones, and I mean, look at Kevin Smith. He did Clerks where he worked at for next to nothing, sold his comic book collection and maxed out a credit card. And now, I mean,
I know,
it's one of my go-tos.
Yeah, he's a huge inspiration for me. I remember, I'll never forget, me and my brother going to see Clerks when it first came out. And blown away, like you said. I mean, it looked pretty bad, in terms of cinematography and all those things. But it just was such a crazy, amazing script. And it's like you said, he stayed true to himself. And I think that's kind of the key with this kind of level of filmmaking. You can't make Independence Day, so you've got to you got to find a way. Well, what kind of story can I tell that's going to be interesting for people? So you make a story that's really personal and true to yourself, and I think that's where people reflect on it and are they can get into it.
Yeah, one thing I have figured out, with the podcast and my comedy and everything in general, is if you put yourself out there, people recognize that and they respond to it. I can come on the podcast and I can go, so Colin, what movies have you made this year? And it's just that same dry, just non-sincere interview, and I don't do that. I talk. I mean, I want to know what people want to know.
Yeah, exactly.
And Clerks 3 is being written right now.
Really?
Yes.
I did not know that at all.
Yes, it's gotten the green light. It's being written as we speak. I had Marilyn Gigliotti on a couple of weeks ago, and she told me, a little bit about everything that's known so far, and it sounds like it's going to be pretty good.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love him. I also like that, actually a friend of mine, Christina Lois is her name, we went to film school together. We're still friends to this day. Mm-hmm. And she worked on his, the Bruce Willis film. I can't think of the name. Yeah, she worked on that.
Yep.
And she said he was like the nicest. She actually got pretty friendly with him.
Yeah.
And she was like nicest guy, like, just super nice, like open-minded, not like, he's kind of a legend in a lot of worlds,
yeah.
Especially the comic book kind of Comic-Con world. And it's like she said, like, he doesn't bring any of that with him. He's just real, like, down-to-earth, chill guy, talk to you about anything, You bring up Star Wars, he'll talk to you for like 3 hours.
Oh, yeah.
So I was so happy. I was like, that's awesome. I hate when you find out that people you like are not great.
Yeah, I hate that, and then you meet people that, you think on screen they're just buttholes or whatever, and then they're just the nicest people in the world. It's like, holy crap, I've not liked you all these years, but now I do. And that's weird, but it's fun.
Oh, absolutely.
But yeah,
no, it's great. It's great.
But yeah, I noticed, several of the movies you've done, have been in the horror genre, and do you just love doing those?
I do. Honestly, it's funny. Growing up, I was the biggest chicken. I don't know if I can curse, but
yeah, you
chicken,
can.
Okay, chicken shit. And I was, if my parents were here on this conversation, they would tell you funny stories. But yeah, I was just like so scared of everything, and I hated horror movies. Then I got married, and my wife loved horror movies, so we would go on our date nights to the theater. Always mostly a horror movie, at home horror movie. Anyway, long story short, I've been doing films for years. Mainly as a cameraman. That's my main job, right?
Yeah.
And I was shooting movies and stuff, shooting television shows, whatever. And I had never done a horror in that. Well, I had done a few. I'm sorry, like indie stuff, but not that I was like really invested in, where I was super involved in like the making of it. And then one day I was just kind of like, I was sitting with her and her mom talking, and I was like, I don't know if you're familiar with La Llorona. It's sort of like a Mexican sort of Spanish folktale horror, like folktale thing. And so they told me about it because I never heard of it growing up. And they were like, oh yeah, when, kids, Latino kids or Spanish kids would hear this story, and it's like, it was really scary. So I was like, I want to make a movie. That sounds like a cool movie. And it just kind of like came out of that. And the thing that I love about it is like making them is there's so much creative area to go into, it's so much fun. Because you just sit around, and like with the crew, we sit around. We're like, how can we make this more scary? And like, someone will just be like, have him jump out of the closet. Yeah, it's a good. Okay, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I know. I grew up watching them. I saw the Jasons and the Freddys, and I loved those. I got Tom Savini's book Grand Illusions when I was a kid, and
nice.
That made me want to do makeup, and I learned a lot. And I actually used to do makeup at a place in Augusta during Halloween, and make pretty good money for that weekend.
Yeah.
And I've just always loved the genre. It's funny because once I learned about makeup and effects, some of it, I'd see this, and instead of being afraid, I'd be like, now how the hell did they do that? Okay, I see what they did. Okay, yeah, they did. Okay. And it kind of took a little bit of the magic away from me, but at the same time, it added to it because I knew, and it was just a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, that's the thing. It was funny when I first started. I always my parents loved movies. Growing up, we watched movies all the time, and then I obviously got into it. But I remember, once I started learning in film school, it was like it kind of was a bit of a bummer because it's like I lost the ability to watch movies, and I was like constantly noticing like the camera tricks or like different moves or stuff going on set because I was starting to work in them, and I couldn't. It was hard for me to like watch a movie, and it was kind of frustrating. Now I'm fine. Now I don't even think about it anymore that way. I mean, I do, of course, but it's like a secondary thing in a weird way. But yeah, it's like I struggle for a long time. I'd be like, I can't enjoy this damn movie anymore, because I'm sitting there looking at like, oh, there's a light over there, oh, that guy, there's like an extra, all that kind of crap.
Yeah, I can see a piece of the track.
Yeah, stuff exactly.
Yeah,
it's like now I zone it out. It clicks on, of course, but I really try to enjoy movies. I love them so much that I try to just sit back and be like, I just want to enjoy this story and lose myself in the story,
Oh yeah. Well, now that you've started watching and everything, have you gone back and watched any of the '80s slasher movies?
Oh yeah. Well, so my second movie was called Bloody Drama, and it was like I worked at Scream Time, and my first movie was like sort of like a Blair Witch kind of style, like a first person, POV or whatever you want to call it. So that was kind of my introduction. But then my second movie was Scream Time. Actually, was like they gave me the premise, and they were like, "We liked your first movie. Would you do another one with us? Here's a premise." And he gave it to me, and I obviously like I love Freddy. Particularly Freddy was my favorite, but obviously like Michael Myers was awesome. I was never huge into Jason, Friday the 13th. I didn't dislike it. It was like Michael Myers and Freddy were my two favorites.
Yeah.
But anyway, so when I set out to do a slasher, I went back to watch all them as much as I could. And, I went and reinvestigated all those movies that I had seen when I was much younger. It was really cool.
Yeah, I think my favorite one from back in that day, aside from the Freddys and the Jasons and the Michaels, did you ever see one called April Fool's Day?
Yeah.
I love
that. Wait, is that no, that's not the new one, right? That's
not the new. I haven't been able to watch the new one. I started to, and I'm not a remake guy. I like the originals.
Yeah.
But
refresh my memory because I'm sure I saw it, but I don't remember it. The original.
Yeah, the rich girl invites all of her friends out to her secluded place on the lake for April Fool's Day weekend to have a good time, and they start getting killed off one by one, and they find out that she has a twin sister who went insane, and it's just such a great movie. It is so. Everybody's got somebody that went insane in these things, and that's the great part.
Yeah.
Of it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean that's kind of exactly. I mean that's what was sort of some of the stuff going on in Bloody Drama.
Yeah.
But it was interesting because like I never made a movie from someone else's idea. Mm-hmm. So like I said, at Scream Time they gave me the premise, and I never made a slasher. I never even thought I would. But it was the first time I ever worked from somebody else's concept. It was really interesting trying to figure out, all right, how do I make this work and blah, 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 and then I went on my own little directions with it. He was awesome. The Scream Times films was awesome because they just kind of let me do whatever I wanted. There was no questions asked. So, but yeah, it was crazy, like just kind of being able to go out there. And like I said, I watched all those movies. I tried to do my best. It was, obviously it's not Halloween, but,
hey.
For the dollar.
You made somebody piss themselves. That's what counts.
I tried. I hope I did. Someone, that'd be great.
Oh, yeah.
Like I said, for me, I don't, I can't guarantee I can scare you. I hope I can, but I can't guarantee that. But what I have to do is I've got to get you to care about the characters.
Yeah.
If I do that, then the other stuff might fall into place. But my belief is, like, if you don't give a crap, like Jamie Lee Curtis, her character in Halloween, if you don't really care about her, you're probably just going to walk away and be like, oh, I just want to see all these people die. Like I'm kind of cool with them dying. But in that one, I think part of what makes it a classic is that you do kind of care about, you want her, you want her to win and you want her to be okay, that's kind of a thing I try to do. And then from there, it's like, then you build out like how to freak people out or make them scared in a real way too. You don't want to be just scare for scare. Sometimes I watch these movies and I get so annoyed at the jump scares that are sort of a constant flow of jump scares, and you're like, come on, man. Like,
oh yeah, there's
other ways to do this.
Yeah, I still like a good old jump scare sometimes, but like I say, I like the ones that build up. You may know what's coming, but you just kind of you get invested in these characters, and you hope it's not. You hope it's that near miss that you see them run off, and they're the character that goes and gets help or whatever. And next thing you know, they're hanging upside down from a tree by 1 foot and have a butter knife in their neck.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing. It's like the best things to me. I remember. This is whatever, but I remember watching Blair Witch, and I remember thinking, kind of nerdy film guy, but I remember thinking, I was like, what really got me about that was that I felt like I was alone in the woods with this woman.
Mm-hmm.
And, part of that was because it was the way it was shot, and it gave you the impression that she was just alone in the woods with a video camera. She was actually to some extent, but I just remember being I was like, man, if you could hold an audience in this level of tension for almost the whole movie, if not all of it, forget it, Yeah. And, that was kind of like the thing, the genesis of my first project, but it's almost it was funny because we originally shot, it's called Sleepover, but originally it's just about these two girls having a sleepover party, and the ghost of La Llorona haunts them, and does stuff to them. But the idea was that when we originally shot it, it was going to be just the whole movie was going to be just this girl's POV. The whole movie. But then, and we actually shot, it was funny because they were these two high school actresses, and we tortured them. Me and my other producer, Colin and the crew, we shot it real time. So there weren't any cuts or edits or anything. It was just all real time. And the girl wore a camera on her head, not a GoPro, but a kind of camera system. And literally, they would just. They knew lines they had to say, and they knew kind of a general direction of where they were supposed to go with dialogue and stuff. But we would just bang on the walls and scratch the walls with things, and they were actually genuinely scared. And then we cut the power to the house, so it was pitch black. But I would I'd be whispering in the corner, be like, "Oh, get the flashlight." When I needed them to have a flash, so there was some light so they could see. And then the second half of the movie, she's with the flashlight almost the whole time.
Yeah.
And then I'd we painted this actress white. She was the ghost, and then she would come out of a corner. They wouldn't know. They had no idea where anything was happening. Yeah, it was crazy. I felt so bad. And her mother's there with us half the time too. I was like, I'm gonna get arrested or something.
That sounds like that was amazing.
It was crazy. Yeah. You
talk about Blair Witch. Bobcat Goldthwait, right?
Oh yeah.
He's a filmmaker also.
I know. That's amazing.
Have you seen his movie Willow Creek?
Willow Creek, I have not.
It's on Amazon Prime right now. It's a found footage Bigfoot movie.
Really?
Yes, and it's along the same lines of Blair Witch, but this couple actually goes out to Bluff Creek, California, where the Patterson-Gimlin footage for Bigfoot was shot years ago. And like I said, the first half, you get to know the two people. They're going around doing their interviews and checking everything out. And the second half, just holy shit. They have one scene that's in a tent. It's just the two of them, and it's an 18-minute scene. It's all one take, and they did it in 2 takes.
Wow.
And they did it on location out there where all this, the Bigfoot happened. And
wow.
The guy asked Bobcat Goldthwait, said, dude, we could film this in a parking lot somewhere in this tent. And Bobcat Goldthwait says, you won't be scared in a parking lot. And I mean, you can tell these people are not thrilled about being out here in the middle of the night filming this thing.
Yeah, exactly.
It is such a good movie. You need to check it out. It's a great movie.
I will. No, definitely. That's awesome. Yeah. I knew he was a film. I listened to a podcast. I forget which one it was, but he was on there actually talking about his movies and stuff. in his obviously acting career.
Yeah.
You know, and I was just like, I mean, I grew up with the police academies and all that stuff, so you know that was my introduction, and obviously his stand-up in the '80s.
Yeah.
And it's just funny, you know. It's just like there's another. I'm trying to think. There was someone else recently I found out. Oh, Emilio Estevez is a director too.
I did not know that.
Yeah, he's a director. He just had a movie out that was pretty awesome. I'm sorry, I'm worthless. I don't know. I forget everything, but I saw it. It was like a similar thing. I heard a podcast with him on, or not a podcast. I think he was on NPR, and it was super cool. Like I was like, holy crap, it's Emilio Estevez. All right.
Huh.
Yeah. So all these '80s actors are becoming directors, or not becoming. They've been directors for a while.
I am actually looking him up right now to see if I can find this, because I'm always up for good new movies.
Yeah, it's pretty recent, and probably the last 2 years or so.
Yeah.
But I had seen the movie that he talked about on the interview, and I was like, I didn't know it was his. I didn't notice the director when I saw it.
Mm-hmm.
It was online, and I was like, pretty awesome.
He did one called The Public.
Yes, yeah.
I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah. I mean, it's cool. I mean, these guys are performers and actors, so it's like, you know, they know how to talk to actors.
Yeah.
Like in the case of, you know, Bobcat Goldthwait, I mean, you know, and Emilio Estevez, I mean, it's like they know how to talk to actors. So really, the last part is learning the camera side of things and all the lighting and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
But they know how to. They're an actor, so they know how to talk to actors. And I think he in the case of Emilio Estevez, I think he's in a lot of his movies too. But yeah, no, it's cool.
Yeah,
really cool. Yeah, I'll check out that Bigfoot movie. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And I tell you, you talk about lighting, and you've done the camera work and all that. I've done some videos that I've got a YouTube channel. It's Brad's Comedy, all one word. And I've got some characters on there I want you to look at, because I do them on green screen, just because I do them in my basement here in my studio.
Nice.
And when I first started doing it, my lighting on the green screen was great. Everything went fine with the editing. And it just seems like my lighting is off now, and I don't understand what mistakes I'm making. So
are you having trouble with the chroma key?
Yeah.
In the edit?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not doing it.
It's doing it, but it's just kind of spots are coming in and out. I can't really explain it. Just watch some of my videos. You'll see.
Okay.
You know what to look for. You'll see. Send
me a link to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll write you an email telling you. I used to do a ton of green screen. A lot similar to like web videos. I used to work for Time Inc., which was like Sports Illustrated, Entertainment Weekly, People.com. And for all their websites, that was one of their main things, was they did a ton of green screen, green screen shows, green screen interviews, stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
So, but that was also, the key to that is, I'll just say it here is obviously like flat light the green screen and light it as equally as you can, so it looks, there's no shadows on it or anything, and it looks evenly lit. And then the thing I notice a lot of people miss is backlighting the character, because the backlight will help you separate the character from the green, from the key. I've like a lot of people I've seen they don't backlight, and you can key it easy without it. Yeah. It just helps separate you from what you key in.
Very cool.
But yeah, no, I'll check that out.
Cool. That'll definitely work, because like I say, I love doing the characters. My YouTube page isn't big enough. I'll probably never get paid. Nothing's ever gone viral. I think my most has got like 300 hits, but I have fun with it.
Yeah, no, that's it. I mean, honestly, whether or not I hope that's not true. I hope it goes viral, I think, like, for me, obviously, like, I'd love to direct a movie with a budget, and I'd love to break through or whatever, but at the same time, I've been doing this for a while now, and I've kind of come along to the thing of, like, I don't ever want to not do it, because I love it, I don't know, it's like you just said, like, you're not doing it because you're hoping, you're obviously hoping, but you're not doing it only to get views and to become like a, celebrity through that YouTube. It's like you like doing it.
Yeah.
And that's all. It's like the core of it, honestly, I just love telling stories. To me, it's like, I just geek out over. Like, I'm writing one right now, my new one, and it's like my favorite stage, because it's like this infant project that's sort of developing.
Yeah.
It's like the best feeling, 'cause it's like, oh man, like it can go anywhere at this point.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's super exciting.
And you have an idea and you start running with it, and all of a sudden another idea hits, and you're like, wait a minute, let me back up. And it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, developing, and then like, I'm not filming, right? So like, I don't have to worry about the budget, and like, we can't afford this, we can't afford that, or time, which is a nightmare for me because I have a job, and then like I've got such a limited budget, so I'm like scratching and clawing to put everything together constantly. So it's like the beauty of this stage is I don't have to worry about any of that. I just kind of write and try to tell a great story and go from there.
Yeah, well, I understand about no budget. The stuff that I've used to do my films and stuff with is things I already had. I bought my wife a green screen and a backdrop setup she liked doing photography, and so I kind of commandeered that in her lights, and I've got a couple of different cameras that I've had over the years, and they're not the greatest in the world, but they work. And my sound and all that, I call it Use What You Got Studios is the name of my studio down here. But I figured out, I could have a $30,000 camera, and I'm going to still be shooting the same thing down here in my basement. And it just, the stuff I use kind of fits the characters that I do. And when you see them, you'll understand exactly what that means. Especially the clown. My clown Murray is awesome. Oh yeah, Murray is unlike any clown you have ever seen. Definitely.
That's awesome. How do you come up with it? Like, you just kind of like workshop these characters and then record them, or? Well,
Murray was my original clown. I'm actually a certified clown. I used to teach fire safety as a clown.
Okay.
And this is Murray's voice. The one bad thing about Murray's voice is it lends itself to cussing really bad. Like, I don't want to get in front of a bunch of kids and say, stop, drop, and roll, you little bastards. That would be a bad thing. So I changed my clown, but Murray's always been a piece of me. And I just decided one day, I said, I'm going to make him the worst clown in the world. And I did. Oh, my God. In each of his videos, he drinks a fifth of bourbon. And that's tea in the bourbon bottle, because if I drank like Murray, I would die. But I actually do magic, and I do balloons in the videos.
Oh, wow.
In early December, I did a 30-minute Christmas special with him and some of my other characters. That was a lot of fun. But he's the only one I knew who he was going to be. The other ones, I didn't. I had an idea with one of them, the coach. He was going to be a guy who, everybody knows the high school football fan who doesn't have kids that play and never played.
Yeah.
He was going to be that guy trying to play with the teenagers. And when I put the wig on, he immediately became the coach. You remember back in the 80s and early 90s, every coach for college football had their coach's show on Sunday.
Oh yeah.
He became that guy. His name is Coach Dan Graham. He does it for all the kids, and that's him. And he just came out of me. And I've got a chef that I do. His name is Chef Rupert, and he's got a great big Freddie Mercury mustache and wears a do-rag, and he's so awesome. He's a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
I've got a guy named Wayne who has a big red bushy mustache and a kind of a red mullet, kind of 70s throwback, wears the Hawaiian shirt, and he just kind of kicks back, and this here's Wayne's voice, baby. Wayne's all about the love. And I've just got several of them that I do, and I love doing them. And each of those, I didn't know who they were going to be until I actually put on the costume. And
Great.
All of them are one take, and all of them are improv, 100%.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I've been kind of playing with doing some more improv. Not me. I mean, with actors doing some improv stuff here. There's a lot of really good improv people in town here in San Antonio. You know, and I've been thinking about starting to like play with the idea, maybe directing some like improv comedy stuff, like sketch writing. But I need to find a good writer. But yeah, it's sort of dabbling in that notion.
Hey, any help you need with it, let me know. I'll be happy to help out.
Okay, definitely.
I've been doing challenges here lately. You know, the hot food challenges and those things.
Yeah.
I actually had a friend of mine send me a lollipop called the Toe of Satan. Have you ever heard of this thing?
No.
Holy shit. It's made with Carolina Reaper extract. It's 9 million Scoville units. Now,
wow.
To put that in perspective, a jalapeno is 2,000. And
wow.
She wanted me to, when I was doing the challenge, to dress as Wayne and read The Little Engine That Could. And I did. And I tell you, the little engine couldn't. Nope. That's like sticking my tongue to the cigarette lighter of an 82 Escort. I mean to tell you.
Where do you get this from?
Amazon's where we got that one from.
Wow.
But I've got a friend that told me this morning he ordered me a new challenge. It's from a company called Fuego Box, who sends out hot stuff every month. And it's a white chocolate challenge. But it's a square of white chocolate, but it's got about 10 different of the hottest peppers in the world in it. And it's pretty rough. But he wants me to do it as Murray, the clown, reading 50 Shades of Grey. So I'm going to film it. It's going to be amazing.
Great. Yeah. That sounds amazing.
Yeah. But,
that's awesome.
But yeah, like I say, just check it out. You'll enjoy it, I think. It's
yeah, definitely. Yeah, send me a link. I want to see it. That sounds great.
I will do it. We're going to watch for Remy's Demons on Amazon. I'm ready for it to come on because I actually watched the trailer a while ago.
Okay.
I think it's going to be really good. It's got me intrigued.
Yeah, we got I'll send you a link to it, but we got on a Movie Lingo YouTube page at Movie Lingo on Instagram. Did our first review. He's awesome, great reviewer. He's doing some other stuff now. He has like a film festival he's part of and everything. But he did a review, great review. I just sent it to him. I didn't know what he was going to say, and it was pretty glowing. I was so happy. So that was our first review. We got a couple new reviews coming out soon. You know, written reviews for blogs and stuff. So, I mean, it seems like I don't want to sound, whatever. I probably sound not so excited, but I am. It's just that, when you make this, it took so long to make it. It took us about a year, almost a year to film it, because, like I said, myself, the actors, they all had jobs, and I would have a ton of stuff going on, and we would like literally shoot a day here. It would probably average about two days a month. Took us about 20 days to film the whole, finish the whole project. It's about an hour, 44 minute, the length. And yeah, so it's like the lead actor, Jason Scarborough, was, has a full-time job, 9 to 5, and he would come after work. We'd work till about 10, 11 o'clock at night in this woman, Jolie DeChico, her house. And she gave me her house for nothing, and we'd go there and invade her house for 5-6 hours at a time. I mean, it's just crazy. But this is obviously the life of these kind of projects. But yeah, when then you finish it, then you edit. My edit was whole crazy because I was about halfway done the edit when the COVID attacked the world, and then that kind of put that whole thing in a crazy scenario. Because my music guy, and he's my partner, but also he does all the music and stuff, but he has a small business and he got crushed by this. So while he was dealing with that, basically he had to just kind of get all the exports of the sound of the music and everything out to me. So it was crazy. But yeah, I'm so happy to have it done, and I can't wait to share it. And like I said, I wish I had an actual date, but right now it's just been this sort of, it's being it was all the materials were given to Amazon, so we're just like, we're waiting for, once it's up. And the weird thing about that process is it just shows up. It's not like they tell us, like, it's coming out tomorrow. It's just like, every other movie I've done, it's just like, I'll Google search, and it's like, oh, it's on Amazon. Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah, well, I'm going to keep looking for it, and I want all my listeners to also, because I think it's going to be great.
Yeah, great, and definitely let us know what you think, and I would love to hear more of your thoughts.
Well, I know, watching the trailer, the lady you got to play the mom, dude, you could
Magda Porter.
You could not have picked any better. Oh man, she is like a female Angus Scrim from the Phantasm movies. Oh man, she just got that look, and it's like, holy shit.
Well, it's funny because the casting, I originally my original, I cast someone to play Remy originally that I worked on other projects with and everything, and he couldn't do it. Mm-hmm. So then I had to kind of start at the drawing board. But before he had left the project, I had, and like I said, him and I had worked together a few times. So we auditioned her. And I remember it was at the public library over here in San Antonio. And she comes out, and I'm like, I had given her sides to read, parts of the script. Mm-hmm. And she comes out, and I had already auditioned, I think, 3 or 4 women for it. And I was, I had a couple that I was interested in. And then he worked. I said, well, can you work with him? He's the lead actor. Would you? He'll be playing your son in the movie. Is that cool? She was like, yeah, fine. Super nice, by the way. And then literally, I'm like, okay, action on the audition, and I lost it. I mean, she was so. I mean, just from someone who had just gotten the script 2 days before, and never. I barely told her anything about it. She didn't have anything to work from, and just killed it. Him and I looked at each other, and we were like, all right. That's that. Yep. She went through. I was like, so you be cool with doing this? And then I always tell them the spiel of I have no money and no time. And she was like, yeah, I'd love to. Magda Porter's her name. She's on Instagram and everything. She's amazing, unbelievable. Always prepared. She'd show up and just bust out with when in person she's she's so nice and sweet and great. Mm-hmm. And then the minute I said action, she'd turn into that Regan. Her name's Regan in the movie. She's Remy's mother, and she would just turn into Regan and I mean, obviously it's acting and that's what they do, but it's just brilliant. I was just my jaw would drop and be like, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, well, cool deal, man. Well, I'm looking forward to it coming out, and we're definitely going to have you back on here. I've had a great time today.
Yeah, please, anytime. Just let me know. I'd love to talk about pretty much anything. So I appreciate your time, and have a great rest of your weekend.
I will. You do the same.